I'm very pleased to say we're joining our representative out there in the White House, Ksenija Pavlovic, of course, who's also the publisher of the US independent press, the Pavlovic Today. Ksenija, how are you?
Hi, Nick. I'm great. How are you?
Well, I'm extremely happy with Republicans because apparently they've decided to tell the royal family to strip Lady Meghan Markle of her royal title. I mean, this is marvellous. I thought you Americans all loved our royalty, even if it was as tenuous as Meghan Markle's claim. What's brought this about?
Yeah, well, Republicans are telling the royal family to strip Meghan Markle of her royal title for interfering in the US politics. But, my view here, and I would really like to unpack, a little bit of the details for you here, is the fact that that's really none of Republicans' business. It's more sort of like a British people's business. So if someone is, to provide recommendations to the Queen, in my view, should be only the taxpayers in Britain. And if royal family, believes that she should be taking on the title, then they should go ahead and do it. That's one thing. The second thing, which I find sort of grotesque here, is that Republicans are accusing Meghan Markle for interfering in US politics, but Meghan Markle is an American citizen. So, this is what I wanted to, draw your attention to, because Republicans are the one right now who claim to be the champions of free speech. They're saying no censorship, everyone is entitled to their political view. And now when this view is of Meghan Markle, American citizen, they have a problem with it. So while I personally am not a fan of Meghan, I think that I need to be fair here and to point out to the things that are just inconsistent.
I think you are being very fair. I do think, Ksenija, you are being very fair. You are right to point to free speech. But I think what probably great, I mean, there's a whole lot of reasons why many in this country don't support Meghan Markle's statements and actions. They find that she's told fibs. They find that she's been very unrepresentative. And they also feel, and perhaps this is what is behind the Republicans, that since she's married into royalty, she now has a platform because she married into British royalty. And of course, Americans are very sensitive to British royalty. On the one hand, you love us, but we're also a reminder that you fought a war to get rid of us. So maybe there's something there.
It is, I think that Meghan Markle needs to decide if she's a private citizen or she's a political actor. And stop using her royal title in order to get attention. But I feel like that's another, conversation to have independently of what Republicans think right now, because I just think that what Republicans are doing right now is, equally grotesque as to what Meghan Markle is doing. So basically, Meghan Markle is now coming out with this, sub letter to Pelosi, where she as a kid had to eat $5, salad in some, local chain. And,
yes. It's
right?
it's how she was brought up as a child and what she had to eat, rather ignoring the fact she went to private school, I think, didn't she, or something?
But, this speaks about her because she is a storyteller, I think, and she is trying to fit everything she does in this rag to riches American story. Because never forget, she is American. She thinks in American way. She doesn't think in European way or the British sort of, way. So let me give you a little bit of background, which I think would be interesting to understand. Like, why now she's coming with this letter? So recently, Pete Buttigieg, U.S. Secretary of Transportation, he went on a 2-month parental leave in the middle of the supply chain crisis. No one knew that he went on a leave, right? And then you had this big, news cycle crisis, discussing, whether he should leave or not. And in the middle of it is parental leave. And now Meghan Markle, very alert of the news cycle, is inserting herself in the news cycle and making the story about her. So I think she's just using every single chance to gain a momentum, because in my view, I think she wants to run for something. Now, is she qualified for that? I don't think so. But again, that's American in her.
It's Ksenija. There is a sense that she's using the royal background to gear up for a political background. I think we look back fondly, or those of us who read the history books look back fondly on the last American who married into royalty in Europe. Of course, was Princess Grace. She was an actress. She went and married Monaco's prince, and just transformed herself from American actress to Monegasque princess, and did it with dignity. I think we're lacking that with Meghan Markle, in my opinion. But let's move on to something I think is fascinating. Donald Trump, who puts out there that they will have jihadi terrorists on social media spouting their bile. He can't get on social media platform. So what does Donald Trump do? He's going to open his own network. And it looks like that the city, have gone crazy for it and are going to back him all the way.
Yes. So Donald Trump is no longer on Twitter or Facebook, but he's now having this big comeback with Truth Social. So on Wednesday, he announced the creation of something called Truth Social. And this is a part of this big new company he's creating and making it public, which is called TMTG. And he's already planning 3 brands: Truth Social, TMTG Plus, and TMTG News. So he is going, all the way from social to, media, entertainment. I don't know what this TMTG Plus is going to stand for. They didn't elaborate on that, but he's going all in, right? And current evaluation for his company that is happening through the merger is 1.7 billion, which is a very high
It hasn't done anything yet, has it?
Yes, but he's Donald Trump, and what is very interesting is that on Thursday morning here in United States, you could read the headlines, even New York Times, saying Donald Trump should not be underestimated. So everyone is aware that he's coming, he's planning, to rally his supporters around the next year midterms and forthcoming presidential election 2024. So he said that he created this network as a way to stand up to the tyranny of big tech. So he wants to champion himself as, the main.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. This looks very clever to me. And once again, Donald Trump has been underestimated by standing up as a champion against big tech, by creating, as it happens, another big tech. He's going to basically get a huge swathe of support, and he has the platform to start his campaign again, right?
Exactly. And it's all about control of his message. And I believe that his network is going to be very successful because he is going to be able to talk directly to his supporters. And I believe that once he is there, the media is going to come there naturally, because Trump is good for the news business, as you know, and the network is going to grow.
Ksenija, sorry, I'm just conscious of time. Do we know when this will be launched?
Yes, we know. So I was told that he's going to do this beta launch in November 2021, so next month, but it will be by invitation only. So visitors to the new website now are asked to leave their email so they get the invitation. But nationwide rollout is expected in the first quarter of 2022.
Okay. Now, something that is all over the news today and leading the news in many cases is Alec Baldwin basically shooting a young lady, I think it is, and killing her in what appears to be a tragic accident. Now, we're only getting some of the facts over here. What happened? And if you can just clarify, lots of talk emerging about this was not considered a safe set. It was low budget. So there could be some manslaughter liability here, right?
I assume so. I just followed the latest court documents, and according to the affidavit that was made available, a crew member yelled "call gun" as he handed the gun to Alec Baldwin, a prop weapon, which means that a call gun is not a hot gun, which means it's not loaded, right? But apparently there were 2 accidents prior to this tragic event. And to me, that no one really took those two incidents seriously in order to really check what was going on is
that was
really shocking.
Two accidents on the same set, I take it.
Yes, before the tragedy.
And is this why we're getting reports that I think 6 maybe members of the crew walked off in protest at the unsafe conditions?
Yes, they walked off before she was killed. She was one of the, very few who decided to stay on the set, and she ended up dead in tragic. And before her, there was also an incident, if you remember, I think in 1993, with the son of Bruce Lee, right? Brandon Lee was shot dead at the set of The Crown. So it is tragic. But what's really interesting here, just if I may add, how this tragedy is now playing out in the political arena. So you now have Republicans going after Alec Baldwin, not because of the fact that he shot someone, but because he's a Democrat and he was always, very vocal in speaking against the Republicans. So you have one of the very pro-Trump political candidates for
Congress. Piling in, I imagine. You would have thought they'd leave a decent time between the loss and death of someone before they piled in like that. But hey, maybe that's too much to ask for. Ksenija Pavlovic, White House correspondent, the publisher of the US Independent Press, the Pavlovic Today. Once again, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week. Coming up after the hour, just time to take some calls, and then we're going to be talking about how GPs seem less concerned about saving the NHS and apparently are planning a strike. Join the conversation 0344 499 1000.
Online, on DAB+, and on the talkRADIO app.
We were hoping the NHS would be able to catch up with that enormous backlog.
talkRADIO.
Britain, latest intelligence just in from the Money Super 7. Not only could you make super savings on your car insurance, you could also get an impressive £150 off at the garage too. Visit Money Supermarket to save now.
The Money Super 7, helping Britain save on car insurance and so much more. Super Save with Money Supermarket. Up to £150 combined vouchers towards MOT services.